Hello there, thank you for joining me and welcome to Celebrating She is Strong Show. I'm Joy Leng from Singapore and I'm a positive hypnotherapist, also known as the Superpower Activator. I use positive psychology tools and hypnotherapy to empower people to celebrate strengths-based whole brain living. Now, if you want something said, as a man. If you want something done, as a woman. This is a quote by Margaret Thatcher. Society expects women to continue carrying on with the multiple roles that they play in life, to continue to do it well constantly as they always do. But women are sometimes guilty of doing that at the detriment of their own well being. Women are phenomenal and amazingly strong in how they activate their strengths daily, faithfully, in loving service of others, and often at the cost of neglecting themselves. Now, in this pandemic, we see that being intensified with women staying home and playing all their roles simultaneously. And I think it is time to celebrate the strengths of these phenomenal women that we live with, that we work with, and we come in contact with. So it is time to celebrate She is Strong as an acknowledgement of their contributions to all. Now, celebrating She is Strong is an extension of the She is Strong initiative, where she were encouraged to take scientific strengths assessment to discover their strengths to support themselves in this pandemic. In each episode of Celebrating She is Strong, we want to celebrate the She in Spotlight by publicly acknowledging her superpowers as featured in her Scientific Strengths Report. So join us in celebrating women as an extension of celebrating humanity united. This celebration is brought to you by She Network and SuperPact. The She that we are celebrating today is Mary Jedde. From her strengths profile assessment, we learned of this, which are her realized and unrealized strengths. Realized strengths are number one, writer, number two, legacy, number three, rapport, number four, connector, number five, gratitude, number six, drive, number seven, growth. Her unrealized strengths are firstly, persistent, second, personal responsibility, and the third one, time optimizer. So now help me to welcome the She in Spotlight for today. Let's welcome Jedde.
Hi,
Hello, Jedde.
a pleasant evening to everybody. It's really great to be here live with She. So thank you, Joy, for inviting me.
Yeah, most welcome. Okay,
Yeah.
so I want to share about Jed is one of our She Network ambassadors. She was the ambassador for the International Women's Day. So as ambassador, she had to answer two questions. One of the question was, why is it important for women to know and to use her strengths? So Jed says that every woman in this world owns a unique set of strengths that have the power to positively disrupt the world. When we actively unleash our strengths, amazing things happen. We become more aware and accepting of our inner world. We become more appreciative of our imperfections. We become less afraid of our unlimited shine. And we are able to move a step forward despite the odds. Then people will begin to see a positively powerful force that walks the earth. They will ask themselves, who is that being? And with all confidence, we say that is a woman walking confidently in the directions of her dreams. And that is a woman who shows her strengths to the world. I am that woman. Whoa.
Definitely. Right on point. Yes, that's definitely what I believe in.
I loved your answer to that question. It's so empowering. And even as I read it, I feel myself being like all the electricity coming out.
I feel the same way just by listening to you speak. I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
I'm speaking words that came from you, which is your number one realized strength, writer.
That's right. And I actually didn't realize that one of my realized strengths was a writer until I took this strengths profiler. Yep. So it was also a
Mm.
shock to me. It's a pleasant surprise, actually.
Yes, that's what I love about strengths profile. It's like unwrapping a present, right? But the present is
Mhm.
yourself, and it's like such a delicious feeling when you're like, oh, I don't know, I wonder what's my strengths report
Yeah.
going to say this time.
And you just feel like things fall into proper places. Like, oh, that explains why I'm so energized when I
Mm.
do this particular activity, which is really fun. And I encourage everyone to try and take it as well. Mm.
Well, today you have several pieces of presents to unwrap, and they come in the form of living beings who are your good friends. So are you ready to unwrap your presents today?
Yes, I am really ready for it. Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Okay, that's exactly what we're going to do now. So, we're going to bring on our first guest for celebrating Jed, and that is Yana. Welcome,
Yay!
Yana.
Hi, Anna.
Yana from She in Spotlight episode 1. Yana is a regular.
That's because you keep inviting
Oh,
like my favorite women that I'm so in awe of. Okay, so yeah.
okay, off you go, Yana.
Okay, so first of all, I am so deeply honored to be here for Jed, and I was thinking like stories about Jed. I don't know where to stop with stories about Jed, so I'm going to keep an eye on the time because I have been known to ramble on. Okay. Uh, I think the most interesting thing about Jed and I is that our relationship started with me being the teacher and her being the student. And I think that relationship changed and she became my teacher in so many ways. And I can honestly say that I am her student, I'm her fan, I am her follower. Um, she impressed me so much in class. I will share this because this is one of what this is still aha moment for me, and I share this story a lot. By the way, I continue to share it in classes. And I remember we were talking about resilience, and I said to Jed, well, I didn't say to Jed, I said to the whole class, I said, Filipina people are known to be incredibly resilient. And this small, tiny, petite, beautiful girl looked at me and she said, actually, I don't like that. I don't like that term because I don't think it empowers people to create change. And I just went, wow. Okay. She just floored me. And I just went, what a power, what an energy, what confidence. And I knew from that moment that her strength of legacy is already in action. And then I was intrigued and I started following Jed. And I was inspired by her blogs. Her writing is so beautiful. And every time I read her blogs, it touches me so deeply. And I think she has an incredible, Jed. I think you have a voice that will travel, a voice that will create ripples. You have, every time I speak to you, I learn something about you that I'm in awe of. So, for example, I speak to Jed about something completely different on the phone, and she tells me that she's starting this support system in Philippines for people to be able to call in and get counseling and be looked after and be supported. And I'm just going, wow, okay, that's fantastic. Then legacy, right? The next thing I know, she's done this video, a podcast, and I'm like, and then she says, oh, somebody saw my video, and now I'm having meetings with the Filipino government and psychology, whatever association, and we're looking at how we can empower people and how we can integrate these concepts in the government. I'm just going, wow. So pretty much every time I speak to Jed, I'm having this wow moments and just so much authenticity. And I know that everything she does is coming from a space of deeply caring. She is a connector, and she's not just a connector of people in the way that this strength is represented. She's actually a connector of ideas, of empathy, of hearts, of projects that will change the world, and then honestly, I would like when I saw the strengths, I was like, where is counterpoint? She's got enormous counterpoint. She's able to look at different perspectives and in a very thoughtful and sophisticated way and contribute to that. Okay. Where is change agent? That's another strength that should be up on your list. And I'm sure that you would have all these strengths realized if it was the extended version of the strengths profile, and it's like, I see so many strengths in you. And I love that what you wrote about the unlimited shine. And I'm so glad that you have an unlimited shine, because you've been shining for so long already and being so courageous in the movements you made. And I know that you are stepping outside of your comfort zone all the time. And you're embracing that feeling of uncertainty courageously and saying yes to life and saying yes to opportunities. And I really admire that so much about you, and your love for your family and your love for the world. And it's all, you have this ability to integrate your I and still think of the we. And I think that is a really special quality to have. And I'm deeply honored to be able to even know you, and that you were in my class, and I'm constantly watching the space, because pretty much every time you do something, I'm like, wow, holy shit, that's really great. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah, so just really, really wonderful. And I know that Liz, another shining human being, she will also agree that when we meet together for our book club and when we sit there together, it's like having your energy and having your presence, we all feel more connected. So as a connector, you're going beyond just connecting. You're connecting on so many different levels. I think as your legacy is shining already on so many platforms and in so many ways, and there was one unrealized strength. Oh yeah, personal responsibility and persistence were apparently your unrealized strengths. And I'm like, how is that possible? Because I think you take enormous personal responsibility to make this world a better place, which is why you make those choices, and which is why you step so courageously all the time outside of your comfort zone and push those boundaries to make real impactful change. And I am so deeply in awe of you, and I'm so grateful that I get to be here. And honestly, it's like, yeah, I wish I met you when I was 20. I would have been incredibly inspired by you. But honestly, it is people like yourself, women that are so beautiful and courageous and brave and authentic and not being afraid to be a woman, and yet not be afraid to step up and play with the big boys out in the world and make a real big difference. And I just really love that about you, Jed. And you just shine those strengths all over the place. Yeah. I could go on and on, but I'm being time.
Thank you, Yana. Thank you for pointing out the strengths that I have in terms of stories when we interacted together. And I remembered before the start of the class, I actually sent an email to you. I actually sent an email to Yana saying oh, you have the same name with my best friend, which is Jana, pronounced as Jana. And then I say, I'm really looking forward for this class. And I never expected you to respond to my email. And I never really expect you replying to my email after then. It's this is so awesome. To be able to talk with someone who is also as inspiring as you. It really means a lot to me. And for listening to what I have to share in class during that time when I said Filipinos, when people think Filipinos are resilient, but sometimes it's not really the case. It's like one of those immediate, instant judge like things that we have or we foresee that when we see a Filipino. But sometimes it's learned helplessness, as I mentioned. So it's one of the things that I would like to put into words someday, or maybe put into policy, so that it helps more Filipinos understand that if there is something that they can do to change their situation, then we will empower them to do so and not just accept it as it is. So that was one thing that I shared with Yana. So thank you so much for being my believe mirror. That really means a lot, and it's so humbling to hear those words. So thank you, Yana.
I am your thick, thick belief mirror that's pretty much unbreakable. And when Jed sends me emails, by the way, I usually end up in tears of just all gratitude and joy. She's very good at that. So, and as you have heard from the way she wrote things for Joy, she's a beautiful writer. So not only are you a great communicator, you're a great facilitator, you're also a great writer, and you will have so many opportunities to touch people's hearts through all these different channels that will resonate with people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. With all my heart. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, audience, when Jed was sharing, responding to Yana, did you hear her language? It was screaming of legacy. That is how someone with the strength of legacy will talk. And she doesn't even realize it. To her, it's a normal speech. But to us, we just go like our jaw would just drop. How can anyone talk like that and behave like, it's normal? But that's Jed for you. And that's the Jed that
She's already
we
thinking
know.
about changing government policies. Good for you.
So the stories of celebrating Jed's strength that came from Yana was all about Jed, but then when she responded, it was all about other people, and you can hear the strength of connector also shining through. And I just want to say, speaking of Philippines, we have viewers from Philippines, clearly people who know you. I think we have Vanessa saying, watching you from Cebu, Philippines.
Yay! Hello.
And we have Carbona saying, yay, Jed. And we have Chinette. Yes, so we have a Philippine crowd today.
Awesome. Thank you for your support, everyone.
Yes, support her. She's awesome.
Okay, so now I think it's time to unwrap your next present. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, now let's take a deep breath together and count to 3. Ready? Deep breath now. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Hi, Liz. Welcome.
Hi, Liz.
That was me. I thought I was waiting first, but hi.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm
surprised.
I'm getting so sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
Okay. Anyway, you're on screen. You're alive. Go.
Hi, Jet.
Hi, Liz.
So honored to be selected today to speak about your strengths. You know, you're one of the people I really admire in our positive psychology community. And I can just say, like, even from the first moments of meeting you, and I was in Yana's class, like she was saying, and I was your classmate. And I remember when you spoke up, and also during the presentation, the group presentation, I was so impressed by how eloquent you were speaking. Like, you have so much maturity in your words and in your energy, and so much, I would even use the word gravitas. Like, that's what I would associate with you. And you're only 26 years old. Oh my gosh. And I think that also comes through, like, when you say that you're an old soul, like in your writing, I can feel that as well. And I always loved how you embody your principles, like speaking from a place of authenticity, of benefit to others, and also of non-harm to others. I think that's super mature. And another thing that really impressed me was that you made that leap of faith to come to Singapore 4 years ago at age 22. Oh my gosh, what were we doing at 22? Okay, different people, different stories. But, you know, you share your story with me so kindly. And you said that you actually grew up in a pretty protected family and environment. And it was, you know, pretty scary for you to even share that news with your family.
Definitely.
Yeah, but yet you did it. Like
Yes.
somehow you found that strength inside you, and I think that comes from your drive and your growth, realized strengths. Like you're always pushing yourself, setting the stretch goals for yourself, developing yourself, learning new things, even investing in a graduate diploma in applied positive psychology yourself at that young age. Like I think that's really commendable. Like not many people would do that. And also, I think you always try a lot of new things that I feel like I would also try if I had more drive or confidence, like, blogging, video making, doing a storytelling live on IG, and your future podcast as well. Like, you really just go and do it. Like, it's amazing. Like Yana says, you're someone to watch. And yeah, I really agree with that. And there's one thing also you wrote in your story about the 3 practices that you have, which is embracing life with gratitude, having a humble heart, and seeking ways to learn with an intent to give back. That I really loved about you. And I really see that whenever you write from your heart. Like it doesn't matter how many views or how many comments you get, but you're just putting it out there, writing from the heart. So I also want to thank you for sharing your story with me when I asked, because, it's a story of vulnerability. We're compiling this book series, this book compilation, and you didn't have to, because we didn't also know each other so well back then, but yet you did it. And I was so grateful for that. I will never forget that. And last but not least, maybe I'll share a bit about some surprises I got when I read your report, the Strengths Profile report, which is that adventure is a learned behavior for you.
Yeah.
That you don't normally like to take risks or do things outside of your comfort zone. That's super surprising to me. Yeah, you're a facilitator, and you also traveled to another country at such a young age. So that was surprising. And also change Asian. I can't believe that is actually under weaknesses. Like Yana said, she would think that that's your strength. But it just shows like how strengths can change over time. We're always, developing and changing. So keep on doing what you're doing. I think you're on the right path and really building that legacy for yourself and for others.
Yes, thank you, Liz.
Welcome.
I think, when you mentioned about like really speaking from the heart, I think it's one thing that I would like to encourage more people to do. Like, it really doesn't matter if how many likes you get or how many shares, as long as you find that channel where you can be yourself, whether it be writing or speaking or something else. I encourage people to do it because I feel like we've been too locked up inside our own world too much that we fail to recognize that when we speak it out loud, more people can actually use that as a survival guide for them to, navigate their own lives. So so that's something that I really yearn to achieve, and I'm doing it one step at a time. So thank you so much for noticing that strength in me.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Thanks for sharing that too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So again, I'm noticing that Jad, in response to feedback about your superpower, you are throwing it out there again and telling people, "Hey, you should do this," and that legacy is screaming again. Like it makes me wonder, like, are you born like that? Feels like natural speech. Is like, holy cow, we should just walk around, follow you around with a recorder. Then that's one book there. Done.
Yeah. And I think also I would like to add about change agent being my weakness, because I really am a person who dislike changes. Like I really don't like changes. Like if you change like a routine that I have, I freak out. But I feel like when I spoke to Joy once, she was sharing this message with me, like lean into your discomfort. And I feel like that is something that I'm geared towards. Like I'm attracted to that kind of mantra. Like don't be, yes, you're scared, but you have that energy and you resonate with that thing. So just try and do it. If it doesn't work, then at least you have learned something. But since you tried, then you know that if it works for you or not. At least you know you have an answer, rather than you're always thinking all your life, is it going to work or not? And then you just die thinking like whether it worked or not. So I don't think I want to die that way. So, yeah,
Wow.
and also death. Death is something that I am like trying to learn to accept as part of life. So that's one thing I would like a message I would like to broadcast out there, like especially now with the pandemic. I feel like we've always been scared of death, but I think now with the strengths and positive psychology, I'm trying to navigate my way through accepting it as part of life. So that's one thing also. Yeah.
So much wisdom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jet, for sharing one of my favorite phase,
Mhm.
leaning into my discomfort. And that's what I always remind myself
Yeah.
every day. And the fact that you can resonate with it, I think, again, your realized strength of drive and growth coming
Mm.
shining through. That you are possessing a growth mindset, that you're like, hey, better to try and fail than not to try at all. I
Yep.
think, like, again, that is your strength speaking through it. And now I think it's time to unwrap your final present that was
Yes.
supposed to be not the final present, but now it is. I saved the best for last. So I'm going to invite Winifred. Ta-da!
Yay!
Welcome.
Hello.
Okay. Oh, wait. Let me unmute her. Okay.
Oh yes, I'm here.
Winifred,
Okay,
unmute.
sorry,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
I forgot.
Okay.
So let me say again, I'm so happy to be here.
Welcome.
Yeah, hello
Hello,
everybody.
Winnie.
Yeah. I feel like I'm just gonna be like repeating what the other two ladies have said because I'm a big fan of Jet too, you know. Yeah, and we all met in the class that Yana taught us. So thank Yana for being such a wonderful
Yes.
lecturer and facilitating all this, that we end up like, you know, becoming really good friends and supporter of each other. You know, we're just here behind each other's back and trying to encourage and drive each other towards the goal that we want to living a flourishing life. So just a little bit story. I mean, when Jet speak, I think everybody pay attention. That's her power. And I think she has no idea that she has such charisma.
Mhm.
You know, I think when in the moment she opened her mouth, people pay attention. And I think that's such a great gift. You know, you have that charismatic presence around you. And so I I was drawn to Jet maybe around the same time, you know, that class when she talked about the learned helplessness, like when the way she kind of like challenge and have that counterpoint was really impressive. You know, like she dared to speak up what she wanted to say. So from then on, I was like, oh, I want to get to know this girl. I want to know her. And so like we had lunch. I think there was one lunch that we had together, and I was like talking and learning more about her. And then subsequently, for my assignment, I chose to interview Jet. So I think she willingly, generously gave me her time, and I got to know her a little bit more about her stories. And it explains so much to me, it makes so much sense because she has like great leadership, you know, because even in a young age of like 16, was it 16 or 17? She
15.
was 15, she was a council leader and she was working at that age already. You know, she was elected to be a leader. And I was so blown away by that. I was like, oh my gosh. So Lee said, what was I doing at 22? I said, what was I doing at 15? What was I doing at 15, right? You know, kind of a thing. And that explains so much of a sense of mission. I think your strength is also that of mission, which is not there. So today, I think I'm going to say things that are not in the list because, you know, I think you have a great sense of mission. You are also a person of great humility. You know, there's like, you know, you allow your work to speak for what you do. You don't broadcast it yourself. There's no need for you to do that, you know. And I think when we, in our interaction, we share our story, you also talk about like how you admire this other leader who was humble. You know, you share about that story, and I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense because you emulate people that you want to be. And I wonder if you realize that you have that humility in you also, and that's your strength too. You know, it's just so easy to talk to you, and so comfortable. You know, yeah, and I think persistence, I mean, I don't know why it's your unrealized strength, but for somebody who has been writing a blog every single Thursday since January, I mean, how is that not persistence? You know, and that's your drive and your goal, right? You said that I'm gonna write a blog every Thursday, and you make it happen. You made it happen, and you ensure that it happens. Like, it doesn't matter whether I have things to write or not. I will just figure it out, and I'll just write something when time comes. And I think that that is really, really beautiful to watch. So, you know, I often feel like you are this little sister that I have. You're so much older, right? Because I often wish that, what did I do at 24? What did I do at 15? So this little sister that I'm so proud of, and I feel like, you know, you don't really need mentor because you are self-directed. But I just wish that I can be at the sideline and say, go Jet, be like your cheerleader, and watch how you unfold and continue to grow. Because I think there is so much of that self-assurance. You know what you want to do, and you have that drive to do it. So you don't really need that much push, but maybe we're happy to just be around and say, go Jet, yes, do it, you know, kind of a thing, you know. Yeah. And I'm so honored to be here and to watch you grow and to like be part of your journey in that sense. And thank you for inviting me, you know. And I appreciate how you are very open. I remember I had some questions I wanted to bounce idea with, you know, and then I texted Jet, and Jet said, sure, let's chat. And then we're talking after a while, and then she kind of like turned around and say, oh, so Winnie, how are you? And it was such a simple question, but it kind of touched me because, you know, because he put it in a way that makes me feel like, you know, she is genuine, that she's concerned about my well-being. And maybe because of the line of work that I do, very few people actually really ask me like, oh, how are you? kind of a thing. And so I felt quite touched by that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Winnie. And yes, I think like, sorry, I'm adding something again. I think it's like, it's normal for me to ask, especially those who inspire me, if how are they? Because like sometimes the strong people also needs to be checked on, right? Like, and I feel like we are those ones who in a way are strong because we understand that, you know, negative emotions are normal, and we have to like, you know, rise above our negativity bias, and that kind of wisdom, a lot of people still is searching for that kind of wisdom. So in a way that makes us a bit of like strong. So but we're not invincible, right? Like we also need to be checked on. So I always make sure that, you know, we spread that kind of message, like how are you? If you're always the one constantly talking and checking on other people, you also deserve to be checked on. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I love your empathy there. Amazing.
Yeah, and I think also I would like to add one more, and it's like before I took positive psychology, I've always felt that when somebody gives me a compliment, like, "Oh wow, you're so humble," or "You're so great," I feel like I want to push that compliment away. Like I feel like, oh, that's gonna make my head big. Like that's what we call it, right? Like that's gonna make me boastful or arrogant. But I realized along the way of learning and seeking knowledge that that's not really the case. It's more of like people see strengths in you, and sometimes you have to embrace it so that you can have an anchor when things go like when things are tough for you. You can remember like, oh, someone spotted that strength in me, so I can go on. So at least you have like a bank, right, where you can, you know, take some strengths and positivity from there. So yeah, another message for the viewers who are watching this: please gratefully accept the compliments and the genuine strength spotting that people give to you, because it really energizes us. Yeah, just say thank you. Yeah, so thank you, Amy. Yes,
Can I add something?
go ahead.
Please.
I'm just sitting here listening in awe. And, you know, I was talking to two of my colleagues today, and we were just discussing what would future look like if we could choose future, and what would that look like, and what will we do to get towards inclusion and celebration and diversity. And I genuinely believe that this is what our leadership should look like. If we have more leaders that are thinking of others and are coming from the space of compassion and empathy and strength, and yet being courageous and taking steps, I hope that this is what our global leadership will look like going forward, because I think it would be a better world.
Me too.
Agree. Yeah. Well, it's not impossible. I mean, like we can start that.
No, we'll vote for you, of course.
Yes, yes. I was just gonna say that, and I mean so me just add a little bit more, right? And there's so much to say. I mean, initially I was concerned, like, oh dear, everybody said something already. Then I realized there's so much to say about Jed. I mean, I the sense of mission and legacy, and we had our chat, and her heart for the Philippines. I think it is so strong, and she shared with me that one day she will return and make a difference there. And I think that's how it should be. That's how much you love your country. And I was like, yes, I'll be cheering you on. If you're doing something, I'm just gonna fly there and support you. Like, I'll vote for you as well, and things like that, right? Yeah. So yeah. Vote for Jed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like it's something that is very difficult to say out loud, honestly. Like to say I love the Philippines, especially now, it's very challenging to do that. But I feel like in my heart, I know, like before I moved to Singapore, I've always believed that I won't be moving away from the Philippines because I have a duty on my country, right? I'm a Filipino, so I should expend all my skills, talents, and energy in my own country. But then this opportunity came, so I'm like, okay, let's try it. But deep in my heart, I'm like, I'm going to go back to the Philippines, really. I don't know what I'm going to do there, but for sure, with the knowledge that I have, I'm able to start something, right? To maybe inspire other people. But I feel like now it's undeniable that things are rough, and so that's why it's more important to, like, rally together and try to pick up the pieces and start anew, or like redirect ourselves to a better path. I mean, it takes a lot of work, really, but it's more about the persistence. And if you have in your heart the belief that things will get better, that will be like the guiding star for you, like for a lot of Filipinos. So I hope that we won't give up in this fight for making the Philippines a better place to live in for the next generation, because it's really a waste if it goes down the drain, all the efforts of the ancestors, all those who fought for it with their lives. And so sad, right? So yeah, so I encourage people to just do your best, guys.
Yeah.
And just follow Jed, and you'll get your just follow her, and then you'll have some strategies on what to do. Because she has idea.
You had to take this
passion.
No, sorry.
Yeah, lead the path and be the trailblazer that you are, in that sense. And another thing that really touched me about Jed is also her love of God and her love of her family. That we talk about it, and that often comes out that I want to do something that God has intended me to do, and I thought that is also really, really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've learned that when we were still young. I didn't understand it then. Like, what's the purpose of like having faith, and what's the purpose of saying thank you and being respectful? Because when you're young, you're like, oh no, it will not be important when I grow up, like stuff like that. But because of my parents, like they were really persistent in the message, like please respect other people, other living things, and have faith in God because He is the ultimate provider of all that you have. And then I'm like, yeah, if this is all taken away from me, who will I be left? What would I be left with? So at least, right, I think that is like the foundation of my identity, like having that foundation of a faith in a God that's stronger than my problems or bigger than my problems. So then everything, I'm like, okay, let's take that step, and no fear because I have a greater God behind me. That kind of feeling. So something greater than you and not just all about yourself. Yeah, that's my ultimate belief. Yeah. So that's all. Thank you.
Beautiful.
I really feel that you had to go on this journey. Like, you had to come to Singapore so that when you go back to Philippines, you will bring more of yourself. You realized all these strengths by the choices you made and the courage that it took for you to take that leap of faith. And all the experiences that you get in Singapore and all the, meeting different people and getting a different perspective, all that is actually going to benefit others. Your experience and your strengths being actualized will benefit everybody else when you get back there. So it's not that you left Philippines, you just went to become stronger, more wise, more powerful, so that you can actually make decisions and choices that will empower others.
Yes. I'll keep that in my heart. Thank you very much. I think that would be a very bumpy voyage, I foresee. But because of Believe Mirror's strong cheerleaders like you guys, you ladies, then it would make it worthwhile and awesome. So I'm looking forward to it.
Us too.
Thank you. Over to you, Joy.
I'm thinking, Jed, that with the amount of fans you have, that's not just asked, but I'm getting a lot of comments as well. Maybe you should just start a airline called Jet, because you probably need to house all of us in. There's going to be we need a lot of space. I would like to share some of the comments that we have, which is meant for you. Let me scroll all the way up.
Oh.
Okay, we have Brian Sasson. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. He said, empowering. And he said later, I'm super proud. Manhook, which is little sister. I'm super
Yes, that's
proud.
right.
Yeah. Is that how you pronounce it? Manhood?
Manghood. Yeah. Hello,
Manhood is
Brian.
okay. And then we have Carbona saying, yes, your safe space tribe is so proud of you, Jed.
Yeah. So your safe space is the one Yana mentioned about this anonymous community of support. So if you are feeling like you have no one to express to, or you're struggling to voice out your concerns and your feelings, then there is this anonymous space where you can express yourself safely. And then if you need mental health support, you can also tap onto our partner USC CDC. That's Counseling Development Center. So that's great. Yay, YSS
Awesome. And John Nicole Koyoka says, speak from the heart. Go, Jed.
Yeah, thank you, Nico.
Vanessa Dabon say, yes to Jed is a connector. So it sounds like your friend.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have quite a few people from Philippines coming in to support you. So this is really it's. I almost feel like I'm hosting your fan club here, Jed.
Thank you.
So I'm really curious, how are you feeling right now?
I am feeling awesome. It's energizing. It's not something like, oh no, don't say that. It's like more of, yeah, that's cool. You see that, so we can be resonating with each other, and how can we support each other? Let's do something. That kind of feeling. Yeah. So I'm zesty. Is it zesty? I don't know. But that's how I feel, and I'm also humbled, really humbled. Like all those that you said about my strengths, they don't all go here. They all go in my heart. So then it's like a fuel for me to move on and go further in life, right? So thank you very much for the viewers, for of course you, Yana, Liz, Joy, and Winnie. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak, to have this means to share a message to other people that it's good to tap on our strengths. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I love that you are embracing it. I remember when I first asked you whether you are okay to come on the show, you were not so sure. But then, as you can see, you had no trouble getting people to come on the show. I didn't have to do a thing. I'm like, oh, the job is done. Cool. I didn't have to do any extra work for you. The people just show up for you automatically. So I think this is the time to savor it, to enjoy it, and to anchor it, as you said. Anchor it in. This are how people remember your strengths so that you can tap on it in challenging times. So I think time to take heart of your own advice. I love the last thing that you said about how all of us sharing about your strengths and your superpower is not going to your head, but it's going to your heart, and that's where it's going to stay. I thought that's like really powerful, especially at a time like this. I think we have to go beyond head knowledge. We also need to generate our heart power, and all this acknowledgement of your strengths as given to you by your loved ones. I think you're right on the money. It's like definitely a powerful generator for the heart. So embrace it.
Yes, thank you. I would.
Beautiful. So one last question for you before we end the show.
Yep.
What is your biggest takeaway from our time together today celebrating you?
Okay. I think my biggest takeaway, and I don't think, I believe that my biggest takeaway here is let's embrace our strengths. And especially because we're celebrating She is Strong, females, women, we have an unlimited shine in us. And of course, right? The men too, they have unlimited shine. But I think the point here is, do we choose to unleash it or not? And if you're hesitating right now whether to unleash your own strength, then now is the time to say, I am going to change that right now and start to, be who I am, be authentic and speak from the heart. Because as I mentioned earlier, you don't know who you inspire around you, right? One soul is already a big influence. So please don't give up and start being authentic without fear, because people would love you if you're authentic, and that love will sustain and surpass the test of time, and that's really great. Yeah, that's my takeaway.
Awesome. That's wonderful advice. So
Yay.
I could only type that fast, so I caught the first part. It should say, let's embrace our strengths. Women have unlimited shine. Now is the time to be who you are and be authentic and speak from the heart. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us, Jad. Thank you, everyone, for coming on the show. Yana, Liz, Winifred, and of course, Jad. So
Yay.
before we end the show, I want to share this free online fun fest for women that She Network has organized together with Women's Wellness Network and Soul Vanda to bring a glorious all-day free women virtual fun fest on Saturday, 4th of July from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you are keen to rejuvenate, recharge, and reactivate your energy together with other women, or are you keen to learn laughter yoga, belly dance, and healthy cooking recipes? I think it's time that women, you give yourself a well-deserved break. After all the multitasking since the lockdown, I think it's time for self-care and girly time. So give yourself a little time out and have fun with other ladies. Block this date, Saturday, 4th of July, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Invite your other girlfriends, sign up, and let's have fun together. Okay. So
Yay!
my superpowered she, let's end this show on a high note with the superpower pose.
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, now it's confused. Okay, thank you for watching this episode. Take care. Bye.
Bye, thank you very much. Good night.
Bye.